both agree that money is an issue sometimes, but what we're saying is that race is the biggest perpetuator of this de facto segregation in public schools. We can see in an article by Colin Brinkley that even poor white students perform better than wealthy African American students. So even if they come from affluent families or attend highly rated schools, black students in Ohio continue to lag far behind their white peers in school, according to a dispatch analysis of data from state standardized tests. On more than 24 state tests given to students in kindergarten through high school last year, the average passing rate among black students was 64%. On average, 87% of white students passed. Average passing rates among affluent white students last year topped those affluent black students by 16 percentage points. So poor white students outperform black students from poor and wealthy families. So from this article, we can see that even if income is an issue, that it's trumped by race. From the study, we can see that no matter what their socioeconomic status is, a colored child may not do as well as their white counterpart. So I'd like to address an argument that the pro side is talking about in the last cross-ex would be that only wealthy or educated parents are going to push their children to do better. We can see that's false because even parents that didn't go to college or didn't even finish high school or don't have the greatest job in the world will push their children to do better because that's what parents do. They want their children to succeed in life and to do the best that they can. So even if your parent couldn't afford the greatest school for you, they're still going to push you to do good, to do well and have good grades, and that doesn't matter whether you're poor or you're rich or your parents were educated or not. We can see that just from this article and from everything that me and my partner have said in the debate, that race is the biggest perpetuator of de facto segregation, and although socioeconomic status may play a part, we believe that race is the biggest factor and that we should focus any laws that we make on ending de facto segregation at race. Thank you.
So the opposing team states that because there's not many minorities in upper classes, like AP classes or honors classes, that classifies as racial segregation. And they might be correct on that. We're not saying that race isn't an issue in segregation, but we're saying that socioeconomic issues are on the rise today and that we need to solve those to solve segregation in schools. But as we've seen, income causes the greatest segregation, and higher income equals better schools, and like my partner stated, different cliques. People with higher income will associate themselves with other people from higher income households. People with lower income households will associate themselves with lower income households because, like the opposing team stated, that they feel awkward and they don't feel like they can belong with other people even if they are from a different race or they're from a minority. And if we solve socioeconomic issues, students will get better education, so that would solve the people feeling awkward in classes with more white students in the classroom. And if we raise the minorities and we put them in the higher classes and better schools, by solving the socioeconomic issues, it would become more of the norm, so people wouldn't feel as awkward in it and in the classes, and they wouldn't feel like they were being left out because of their race. And on looking at the race topic, we can look towards the Atlantic article again by the quote by Reardon, saying that race is about as good a predictor as it was 30 years ago. It's more that income has gotten more important, not that race has gotten less important. So the income of a household is the main cause of this, and it's become more important in schools than race has. And yes, race segregation is still there, but it's not the main cause of segregation anymore. So we can look at the resolution again that states that resolved policies aimed at ending de facto segregation in public schools must focus on socioeconomic issues. And my partner and I still stand complete affirmation of this because yes, there's still racial segregation in schools, but the way to solve this is by solving socioeconomic issues before we solve race segregation, because socioeconomic issues are the main cause right now, and they're the problem that we need to fix, and that would inevitably solve the racial issues.
You guys want to ask the first question? make minorities feel more comfortable in schools?
Well, basically what your argument was is that the minorities, even if they're in the higher education classes and they're like in AP classes or in their better schools, that they still feel uncomfortable because they're the minority in the classroom. There's more white students in the classroom than them. And what we're saying is that by solving social and economic issues, even though poverty is blind, more minorities are from lower income households. So if we solve the socioeconomic issues, more students and more minorities will be in the upper classes and they'll be in AP classes. So the students that are in there now won't feel as awkward asking the teacher a question because it'll be more normal.
Okay, do you have a question?
Honestly, I don't think we have any questions to ask you guys.
Okay, go ahead and keep asking questions. So how could you even solve for socioeconomic issues?
Well, this debate that we're having is not presenting how to solve the issue, just that what issue is more important that we solve first.
Let me rephrase. What I'm saying is there even a plausible way to solve socioeconomic issues?
Yes, definitely. You could open up. Definitely, there's ways to do it because we obviously see we have the Brownie Board Museum, which is a way that people with lower socioeconomic classes can become more educated on things that are happening, and it's free. So creating more of those low-cost or completely free opportunities for people from lower socioeconomic classes will actually help them, improve the gap and make it smaller.
And right now, people are fighting for more open preschools and more higher education preschools for every student, so that even if a parent can afford a private school for their student, they're still going to be able to get just as good of an education from a public place. So by doing that, it would end socioeconomic issues because even though their parents don't have as much money to send them to a private school, the public school will be able to uphold the same standards.
So you're saying that we should focus on socioeconomic issues first, correct?
Yes.
Wouldn't it be smarter to focus on race since it's been happening for longer?
No, it actually wouldn't, because what I stated in my speech is that right now socioeconomic gaps are actually increasing racial segregation as well. So they go hand in hand, so you can't completely solve for racial segregation if there's still socioeconomic segregation that's happening.
If people's incomes don't matter to others because they're getting the same benefits as people from higher income households, then the race won't really matter if they're all equal inequitably. And if people still have a problem with race, you're not going to inevitably change their mind. But if they see them more as equal, then it will change their viewpoint.